Today we are going to start with the t-test for the small sample, and we are going to check the hypothesis testing for the population needs. And whatever we have learned for the z-test, the same procedure is to be followed as we have done earlier. And what we are going to do again, first thing is we have to write down the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis is the first step. Then here we are going to use the test statistic, which is T. There we have noted down by Z, and the only difference is, as we have discussed, that here we have S in place of sigma. There we have taken Z is equal to x bar minus mu divided by Z by under root n, sorry, sigma by under root n, and here we have S by under root n. And there we have written that decision is based upon that mod Z should be less than mod Z alpha for acceptance, otherwise we are rejecting the null hypothesis. Here also we have the same thing, but here we have written the rejection region is based upon the degree of freedom, which is equal to n minus 1. Means it just we want to emphasize that here we are going to take the t standard value, which will be based upon the degree of freedom and obviously at the level of significance. Correct? So let's start working with. Be sure to have your pen and paper because we are going to start with the example in which the data is given to you. And along with me, you have also to see what the things are going on. Otherwise, you are just an audience and you're not actually the student in the class. Correct? So be sure to work along. So let's see what this question is. Here we are talking about a sprinkler system is designed so that the average time for the sprinkler to activate after being turned on is no more than 15 seconds. Sprinkler, I think you are aware of that we in the big parks, sprinklers are being used to sprinkle the drops of water. Correct? So, and here it is visible in the picture also. So here we are talking about a sprinkler system which is designed that on an average how much time is being taken. In 15 seconds it is going to be start after being turned on. And the test of 6 system gave the following times. We have noted down that these are the times taken by the sprinkler after being turned on to start. Now what we are looking for from this, we are looking for is the system working as specified. Now what we have specified, we are saying that they are taking no more than 15 seconds. Correct? This is the words that we are using. So here we have a small data set. We have only 6 systems that we have checked. Earlier when we have done in the examples for Z-test, we have seen that we have taken somewhere 200 samples, 50 samples, 400 samples like this. Means every time the sample size was more than 30. But here we have a small sample size, and here you can see one more difference is that here the data is provided to you. No? We have been given with the data. Earlier what we are saying that this is the mean, this is the standard deviation either from the population or sample. Here we are not saying so because here the data is in front of us, so we have to test it. So most of the time it is a hint for you as a student. You have to see whether the data is given or not. If data is given, so obviously it can't be solved with the help of z-test. Another thing is here we are not talking about the given value of z. Correct? Here I have not written actually, but the value should be given to you. So let's start with the first step. First step is to write down the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So if we are saying the sprinkler system is working as specified, correct? So it is mu is equal to 15. We are actually saying no more than 15 second. No more than means it should be less than or equal to 15 second. Correct? So here you can also use equal to sign, and if you are using the greater less than also in H naught, so we can use it should be not more than, sorry, it should be less than, either less than or equal to 15 second, either I can use this. And if we are using the process that we have to put only equality, then obviously this is the correct null hypothesis. Both are admitted. Opposite should be the alternative hypothesis. So when we are using less than equal to or equal to in the null hypothesis, then what should be the symbol for the alternative? It is the greater than sign. Right? We have to write down the opposite one in the alternative hypothesis. So this we have written as HA means mu greater than 15, means the sprinkler system is not working as specified. Correct. Now what the next step is? Here we are going to use t statistic, and for t statistic what we have x bar minus mu divided by s by under root n. And here you can see in the question nothing is talked about x bar or mu. Sorry, mu is there, x bar or sigma or s. So we have to solve it first and then we have to apply the testing. So how we are going to solve it? The first thing is, as per the requirement, we need x bar, because the formula is saying x bar minus mu divided by s by under root n. N is known to me. We have taken 6 samples. X bar is not known to me. Mu is given as 15. It is also visualized from the hypothesis that we have framed, and we have also to calculate S, which is not given to us. So the first thing that we have to do is find the sample mean and the sample standard deviation, means we have to find out x bar and S. So can you calculate it? At least x bar. I know you must know the formula. In this course, we have not studied with the basic mean, median, mode, standard deviation, because it was not in the course. We have started with the probability, correct? But you must have a knowledge how to find these all things. So let's see how many of you are active and working with the pen and paper. Find out the mean. How to find out the mean? Sum of all divided by n. And I think already we know that we are working with the 6 samples. So find it out. What is the mean of the data values? Let's see. And obviously you can use a calculator also, because in stats course most of the time calculator is allowed, correct? So you can use a calculator and let me know. And if you are not using calculator, you can use your trick to find out the total sum and divide by 6.
I think it will be 20, ma'am. 120 by 6.
20 by 6. So good if you have done. I will see here also how we are going to sum up. Whenever something is to be summed up, always we are looking to make a pair of 10. This is just a trick I am sharing with you. So how we can do here, if we see 5 plus 3 8 plus 2 10. So from here I am getting 10, correct? Here 7 plus 3, 7 plus 3 is also 10, so now I am getting 20. So 20 is also there. Now we have to, I am working with the first unit, the 100th unit. So we have, sorry, the 10th unit, na? 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and which means 100, and 20 gives me 120, and 120 by 6 gives me 20. So the mean is 20. Now if we talk about the standard deviation, how we have to work for, here I have written directly, but actually when we have to do it on the notebook and we are doing it by ourselves, how we have to write down, the first thing is we will note down whatever the x values are given to you, means what is the data value. So I will just write down some in order to show you how to do. So here we have to create one column in which we have to write down all the data values. I have written three more are there. The next step is to find out the difference of mean and the values, means x minus x bar. Now, as we have calculated, x bar is coming as 20. So here what we have to write down, the difference of each value from 20. So it is 17 minus 20 gives me minus 3. Then 33 minus 20 minus of 13. 12 minus 20, it's sorry, plus. 12 minus 20 minus 8, and so on. After that, what we have to do? We have to do its square. We need x minus x bar square. So you have to figure out the square of each and every entry that you have written for x minus x bar. Make them square and write down here 6 values. Now what the next step? The next step is to sum them up and find out the summation of x minus x bar whole square. Correct? I am not doing it here because the answer is in front of you. You have to use your pen and paper, do it. After the PPT also, whenever you are going through, be sure to do the things which is mentioned over there, because it's easy to just see and go through as a book, just for reading, but you have to practice, and that will be done when you are doing it. Okay, so whenever we have to calculate mean, we have to sum the all values divided by the total values. When we are going for the standard deviation, it is the summation of x minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1. and then take the square root. So that will give you the value is 7.9498. After that, what we have to do, we have to calculate this test statistic, which is t, x bar minus mu divided by s by under root n. So here we have written whatever the mean was coming, x bar minus of mu 15 and s by under root n, it's coming as 1.54. Correct. Now here we have to test at 5% level of significance, and the value of sample size is 6. So what we need is, we need the value of t at 5% and 5 degree of freedom. And how it usually being given to you, if you are working for your own, you have to look at the appendix, and for the different level of significance we have the value based upon the degree of freedom. And if it is to be given to you, it will be given to you as t. Here we have 5 as degree of freedom, comma, at the level of significance. So here the value is not given to you directly, we are using it, but if it is to be given along with the question, it will be given to you like this: t, in the subscript we have 5, the degree of freedom, comma, the level of significance, and here it is 2.015. Correct. So how we are going to make the decision? If the value is more than 2.015, then we are going to reject it. So here, is the value more than? No, it's smaller than. So what we can say, we have the value less than 2.015, or here we have the another way to write down the conclusion, that t is equal to 1.54 does not fall in the rejection region, hence h0 is not rejected. Or I can say directly that since mod of t is less than this 2.015, the standard value, so we are going to accept the hypothesis. It means there is not sufficient evidence to indicate that the average activation time is greater than 50. Or we can say the average activation time for the sprinkler system is no more than 15 seconds, because here we have started with that mu is equal to 15, we are accepting it, but actually what the language is, it is given that we are looking for that the average time for the sprinkler to activate after being turned is no more than 15 seconds. Correct. So this was the assumption. So we have to take, yes, the average working, or the average time taken by the sprinkler to activate after being turned off, it is less than equal to 15, because the hypothesis is accepted, not rejected. Correct. So this is the whole process we have done with. Means whenever we are doing with the small sample size, some of the times values will be provided to you for mu, x bar and s. All of the things will be provided, but yes, some of the time data will be there. So from the data you have to calculate the mean, the standard deviation, and then after go for the t-test. Correct? So let's start with the next example. Here what we have is, in a sample of 8 patients, mean DMFT value is 10.3 with standard deviation of 7.3. Now here data is not given, but yes, still we have a small sample size. You know? We are talking for 8 patients, and DMFT might be some medical term, it is that in a sample of 8 patients, the mean DMFT value is this. Means we are talking about x bar. For the sample, something is given to you as a mean, and standard deviation means S. S is given as 7.3. We are looking for, is this sufficient evidence to allow to conclude that mean DMFT value is greater than 9 in the concerned population. We are looking for population mean as mu, and we are checking that is this sufficient evidence, means from whatever the samples we have concluded, is it sufficient to conclude that the mean DMFT value is greater than 9. Now when we are talking about greater than 9 should go in the null hypothesis or alternative one, mu greater than 9. This is what the question is saying, that whatever data is given, is it sufficient?
Alternative. No, I think it will go to alternative.
Because here we have only greater than sign, so we will take less than equal to if we have to go for in the null hypothesis or only equal to sign. Correct? So here we have the given things. Let's see how to do calculation. So obviously we have done with H naught and HA, and the next step is T. So here we have not written the whole calculation. You can do it with x bar 10.3 minus of mu. Mu is 9. So here if we do, it will become 10.3 minus of 9 x bar minus mu divided by s. S is 7.3 divided by under root of n. N is 8. So if you will do the calculation with the help of your calculator, you will get the value as 0.503. Correct? I'm assuming whatever is being written on the slide is correct, but yet you have to check it, you have to verify it so that there should be no chance of mistake. Right? Now this type of value will be given to you whenever we are giving you the question for the t-test, because we know students have not uh, been provided with the sheet, so they have to look for from the examiner. Correct? So here at 10% level of significance, one tail T alpha common 7. Now alpha means 10%, 7 means the degree of freedom, because we are working with the 8 test sample size. So degree of freedom is 7. So here we have 1.333 and here we are getting 0.503. So what we have to conclude? Null hypothesis accepted or rejected? Anyone? Either Divine system 503, and we have seen that the given value for the T2 at 10% and question is accepted or rejected.
Ma'am, it's accepted, ma'am. Ma'am, it's not rejected because, ma'am, that value is, ma'am, this value is greater than that. D.
Means the calculated value is less than the standard value. Correct?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now
Yes.
hypothesis is not rejected. When we are not rejecting or accepting it, so what we can say, when we are accepting it, it was given that the value is obviously less than or equal to 9. Correct? It is not more than 9. So it is the same thing written over here. Either you can say it is less than equal to 9, or you can say it is not greater than 9. Right? So this is how we are going to work with it. Again, we have a data values given to us for the t-test. Let's see what the things are. Here we are saying the pulse rate of man on different days in a month is found to be all these, and we have to discuss whether the pulse rate of man in this month is 65, the mean pulse rate, not the normal pulse rate. We are talking about the average, because might be the man is used to write down the daily record of the pulse rate, and here we have been provided with some data values, not the all 30 values of a month, but from these as a sample values we want to conclude something regarding the mean pulse rate in a month. Correct? So let's see what are the things provided to you. Here the first thing is we have been provided with the data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the for the 10 days. So we have n is equal to 10, mean pulse rate from which we want to see it's coming or not. So it is our mu, and from this data what we need to calculate is we need to calculate x bar and we need to calculate s. Correct? So let's see how we are going to calculate. The first thing we will write down is mu, our null hypothesis. And what you are sending, not connected. Okay, might be. If connection is poor, then might be possible that the things are not going on well. Doesn't matter. I will upload the PPT recording as soon as possible. You can go through it. Let's start with the things. So here we have The percent of man on different days is found to be these as a data values. We have 10 data values provided to us, and we are looking for that. Can we discuss from this that the mean pulse rate of man in this month is 65? So what we have to go for here, we have again to see that data is small. It means we are going to work with the t-test, for which the formula is x bar minus mu divided by s bar under root n. And from the data, what we need to calculate is x bar and s, the standard deviation. Correct? So that you have to calculate. Here I have provided you directly, but be sure to do it by yourself and find out that whether these are correct or not. So here if we have written, the next bar is coming as 67.5 and s is coming as 2.79. Correct? And I'm substituting the values of all the values required for t-test. We are getting the value as 2.82. Now what we can say again, and not Himanshu only, I need the response from all others also, that at 5% level of significance, the T alpha at 9 degree of freedom, because we have total 10 items, is given by 2.262, and the T calculated value is 2.82. So what we can say now? Hypothesis is accepted or rejected. Let's see what others are saying. Afridi Anwar is saying poor connection, but here it's being shown that he is here. And Arjun, I don't know who is Beryl, whose mobile phone is looking like this. B. And Yunus, Mahendra, Misa, Karthik. Any one of you can answer me, or all of you can answer me. Huh? Let's see what your observation is regarding this. And it is a test that you are listening to me or not. Hmm?
I'm not listening to you.
Write down the responses then. Write down what the correct hypothesis decision we are going to take. T is 2.82 and the standard value is 2.262.
Ma'am, ma'am, I think it will be rejected, ma'am. Because ma'am, here, ma'am, that this T alpha, ma'am, it will be less than T, ma'am, which we have calculated. That's the statistic.
Might be.
It's also, ma'am, it's also showing, ma'am. 2.82 is greater than
I
2.262.
need, I need the responses from others. I don't know they're sleeping or listening. Eunice is saying we are listening, but I'm not sure. So let's see what they are going to answer me. Hope so you are correct.
It will reject it.
So others, let's see what they are saying. Rejected or accepted? Misa, Ram, Shubham. Okay, I got one response. Karth is saying rejected. Chale, let's see what others are saying. At least write down something. Rejected or accepted. Misa is also saying rejected. Chale. But you have to just be active. You know? It's not so that if I am speaking and speaking and you are just putting a headphone and sleeping, it's of no use. Huh? Chale. So obviously it is rejected because the calculated value is more than the standard value of t. And here also this value you have not to learn, it will be given to you. If you are doing by your own, it will be from the appendix of the book or from online resource, you can take it out. And what is the t value at alpha, which level of significance you are choosing at the particular degree of freedom. Correct? So null hypothesis is rejected. So this is what we have learned regarding the t-test for single mean. Correct? Now the same thing as we have done for the z test, that we have t-test for z test for the single mean and the difference of mean. So here also we have the z t-test for the one mean and for the difference of mean, but yet some difference is there. Okay, so you have to be careful regarding things. Let's start. Here we are saying that here again we are taking the two samples of size n1 and n2 drawn from the population 1 and 2. And again, might be sometime we are taking only one population and sometime we are taking two population. Depending upon the things, we can adjust. And if we have the two samples of size n1 and 2, we are saying that the sample means are x1 bar, x2 bar. It has to be x1 bar and x2 bar. x1 bar and x2 bar. and the variance is S1 square and S2 square. Now here we have one assumption, that under the assumption that the population variance are equal or unequal but unknown. What we are saying is population variances are unknown, and we have the assumption of the equality or inequality of the population variances. Correct? So we will discuss about this, what thing we have talked here. According to me, only one thing is in your course, under the assumption that the population variances are equal. So we are going to start with that one, because depending upon this thing, we have the different formulas to calculate the S value. Correct? I will tell you the formula in the next slide, might be it's coming. Here what we are saying is, again it is the same thing as we have done for the Z test. Then H naught is mu1 minus mu2 is equal to D naught. Now what is D naught? D naught is again any value or which is usually taken as 0. As we have discussed in the last class also, for Z test with a difference of 2 mean, it's very rare chance that some value is given to you. If some value is given to you, I have told you the formula there. Correct? But most probably, here is also written that it is a hypothesized difference which is usually 0. And what is the null hypothesis? One of the three. Now, one of the three means if you are talking D naught, if you are taking is equal to 0, then obviously we have only one alternative hypothesis which is of unequal to 0. Okay? And if you are talking is equal to some value, then either greater than value, either less than value, or not equal to that value. So that's why we are saying one of the three possible cases. Correct? So here we are going to take the assumption that sigma 1 and sigma 2 are same. Now what are the requirements for the t-test for 2 mean? The two population standard deviations are not known, sigma 1, sigma 2 are not known, but they are assumed to be equal. Means whatever the population we are working with, their standard deviation are equal, which is an assumption. Correct? Obviously, the most important one is the two samples are independent, they are not affecting each other. Both samples are simple random sample. Till now we have gone through only for simple random sampling, and the two sample sizes are both small, because t-test is only applicable when the sample size is small. Correct? So what is the formula we have? The first thing we have to find out is the common variance. We have learned that here we are going to take the samples, and the sample standard deviation is S1 and S2, or we can say variances is S1 square and S2 square. In order to find out the t-test for the difference of mean, we, under the assumption that the two population standard deviations of variance are equal, we are going to calculate the common variance using this formula. S square is equal to n1 minus 1 into s1 square plus n2 minus 1 into s2 square divided by n1 plus n2 minus 2. Means instead of taking, if you remember in the Z test we have taken x1 bar minus x2 bar divided by under root of sigma square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. So the first thing is, here we do not have sigma 1 sigma 2, we have s1 and s2. And what we are doing is, we are assuming that the population standard deviations are same. Sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2. So we are going to calculate a common variance instead of taking S1 and S2 separately in the denominator. Correct? So this is the formula we have. If we have something as a difference given to us, then we have to write down here the difference that I have written down yesterday, mu1 minus mu2. If it is there, you have to add it. Obviously, and most of the time it will be 0. And in the denominator, what we have written for the Z test is, we have written sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. So here we are not going to take that one. This is the only change. The numerator part is same, and the denominator part is not same, because we are taking the assumption that in place of sigma 1 sigma 2 we have s1 s2, and we are assuming that sigma 1 sigma 2 are same. So in place of these two, we are taking this s square calculated by this formula. S square given by n1 minus 1 s1 square plus n2 minus 1 s2 square by this. And as a whole, if we write down with the common variance, s square is coming here outside, and internally we have 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. And if we talk about the degree of freedom, earlier when we have done for t-test, t-test means we have taken one sample of size n, and we talk about that the degree of freedom is n minus 1. No? Now here what we have two samples.
Jai
And
Shri Ram.
Anji, anything you want to discuss, anyone? There might be some disturbances there. So here we are talking that if we are talking about two samples, one is with size n1, another with size n2. So their degree of freedoms are also n1 minus 1 and n2 minus 1. And if I combine the two values n1 minus 1 and n2 minus 1, the total degree of freedom is n1 plus n2, and this minus 1 is giving me minus of 2. So when we are talking about the t-test for the difference of two means, here we have the degree of freedom as n1 plus n2 minus 2. And all these things are very important when MCQ has to be asked. Correct? And sometimes examiner also do these type of things, that while providing you the t standard value, instead of providing one value, they provide to you a bunch of the values, and it is student responsibility to choose the correct one. Correct? Because obviously when the value is provided to you, one value is there, so obviously you are going to use it. You know? But sometimes examiner provide more than one or two values, so that student has to find out which is the appropriate one to find out for the decision. Because obviously we do not have the tables, but yet you must have the understanding that we have to choose the one having the degree of freedom as n1 plus n2 minus 2. If you are not aware of, might be you will confuse at which value to be chosen, and you are going to make a wrong decision. You know? So that is very important regarding the things you must be aware of. Correct? So now we have an example, and let's see how to proceed with it. Here actually we have all the things in front of us, just we have to apply the formula. Let's read it out. Here we are saying two training procedures are compared by measuring the time that it takes trainees to assemble a device. We know that whenever a device is to be assembled, if we talk about the desktop system to be assembled for home, we know that we have to purchase keyboard, CPU, mouse and all other things, and we have to put on the things and we have to assemble it. Here we are talking about the different procedure that we use to assemble a device, you know? And we are looking for two procedure which is being used to assemble a device, and we want to find out that is there any difference in the two methods regarding time or not. Correct? And what we have assumed equal standard deviation of two populations. So here actually we are working with the trainees, and we are looking for the two procedures. So for the two procedure, let's see what are the things given to us. We have taken with method 1, we have taken here the 10 samples, means how the training are going to be assemble a device. Here we have taken sample size n, and here we have 12. So this becomes n1 and n2, and obviously you can interchange them, doesn't matter, as we have already discussed that we are going to take mod, so obviously it's the same thing. Sample mean means we have x1 bar and x2 bar. Sample standard deviation means we have s1 and s2. Correct? So what the first thing is? First thing is we want to find out the null hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis, and the test statistic. So this is our test statistic where we have only one s. Correct? So x1 bar minus x2 bar, it's very easy to obtain. In the under root we have written s square, the denominator part s square, then 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. So we need to find out first from the calculation what is our s square. Correct? And it is just that the degree of freedom of the first one into s1 square, degree of freedom of the second one means n2 minus 1 into s2 square, and divided by the whole degree of freedom. So it's very easy to learn. If you are going through it, it gives you s square, and on substitution of the value in the formula will give you the t calculated value. Correct. Now again, the standard value of t, at here we have actually shown you that how we are calculating the degree of freedom for the standard one. If it is required for you to be done, you can choose it. Here we have 12 plus 10 minus of 2, because we have sample sizes 10 and 12, so we are getting 20 degree of freedom. So the standard value is 2.086, and what we are getting is 1.996, sorry, 1.99. So again, this calculated value is less than this, so the decision is not rejected or accepted. It means the two methods are not different, or we can say there is no significant difference. This is how the terminology we can write down the statement in a proper mathematical statistical way, that there is no significant difference in the training procedure of the two methods, or the time taken by the two methods to implement in assembling a device. Correct. So this is what we have t-test for the tooling. I think to one or two. Okay. One example is still pending, so we will do it tomorrow, because it's farewell for the whatever the content we have done. It's enough for today. Still in the t-test, one more t-test is there. Till now we have learned regarding the t-test for one mean and for two mean. Now we are going to start in the next lecture regarding the t-test, which is paired t-test. So that we will do tomorrow.